Welcome to I'm From the Internet, a podcast about the internet, its users, and their consequences. I am punished comedian Winslow Dumaine, sitting here with internet historian Jay Brandstetter. Jay, how have you been?
While we were on break, I was kind of thinking, I know you're a big Stalker super fan. Are there any particularly funny Stalker mods? Because I'm not super familiar with that modding scene.
You know what the two biggest mods that I remember were ones where they added tons and tons of.
I actually just remembered one. Hold up. Have you ever seen the pseudo doggles? They're doggles, which are dog goggles for the pseudo dogs.
Never seen that before. Huh. It's just they just add some goggles to the dogs. Okay.
Yeah, they saw the term doggles and that was probably really funny. Or fuck it, let's put on the pseudo dogs. I love it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, look at that. They're definitely wearing some dogs or some gogs. The two big mods that I remember were an arsenal mod that adds tons and tons and tons of different guns that were likely just models that were pulled from other games. I don't really understand how that works. I can understand that Skyrim and Fallout 3 were made in the same universe, or it's made with this very similar engines, or maybe the exact same engine. I don't know the exact details on it, but picking up a sword, the same animations, the dragon from Fallout 76 is the same rigging of the dragons from Skyrim, because Bethesda they will cut corners everywhere. And so the big mods that I remember were the ones where they added tons and tons of guns, but that just made it so that you would find a bunch of ammo for 1 millimeter wrong that wouldn't fit in your gun, and so it just kind of ruined the natural balance of the game. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have you fighting in Ukraine with a Desert Eagle and toting around a big minigun. I don't know. It's a little silly. That, and then the misery mod, which I've talked about a lot, which just made every corner of the game more frustrating and difficult. But because that's kind of the vibe of the game, it actually kind of served a good feeling for it, and I really had a lot of fun just getting absolutely torn the fuck apart by random psychic dogs and shit like that. Where it's the kind of thing where you get shot, you need to staunch the bleeding, you need to sew up the wound, you need to do all this, and then your health will slowly come back. And so every decision is way more impactful. You get hungry and your aim will start to waver because you're so shaky. And if you want to eat, you either buy the really, really, really expensive food from the vendor, or you try to kill something in the wild, but then you need to have fire to cook the meat. And then when you eat it, you get radiation poisoning. So it's it adds so much to the game.
I love that. That rules.
Yeah, a big fan of that and all the extra griminess to it, but.
Yeah. In Deus Ex, they had two sort of big total conversion mods that were sort of noteworthy. The first one was called the Nameless mod. And despite being a huge Deus Ex fan, I've never beaten or even really gotten very far in that mod, because the premise is it's an impressive amount of work. They made an entirely new total conversion single player campaign. They added new gameplay mechanics. They added a customizable difficulty with granularity. So much impressive technical stuff. But the premise is that you're inside an internet forum and all the people you're fighting are forum members. And it's made by the people who are part of the Planet Deus Ex forums, and they play themselves in the game. So it's they made this really impressive game, but it sucks to play because it's one huge in-joke. One of the enemies is called the Goat Cult, and I guess that's a reference to their forums or something, and they literally attack you by throwing sporks at you. It's very 2000. It's just
Jesus Christ.
Dog. And then when people complained, they made a remake of it instead of making a new thing. They just, it's it's so frustrating when you see how talented people are and how they use it sometimes. But on the positive note, a good funny Deus Ex mod is called the Malkavian mod. And after the Malkavians from Vampire the Masquerade, which are the crazy vampires. And the premise is somebody made a wacky comedy mod where all the dialogue is chopped and screwed dialogue from the game, where there's you talk, there's all these wonderful quotes. He's you talk to your boss, and he's I want you to go in and go in and go in like the U.S. Marshals and his 7 daughters. Just making all these weird little nonsense things out of it. You have a conversation with a pigeon. It's very silly.
I do like the meme that I've been seeing a lot lately of real life people doing YouTube poops of just like they just talk like a YouTube poop where they're like what and like they chop and screw their own speaking. I don't know. It's just it's funny.
Dallas Salad.
Dallas Salad done. Yeah, yeah. Dallas Lawnmower Expo, be there. Wait, Sunday, and Saturday. Yeah, we could go all fucking day, dude.
Yeah, we could just recite the entire thing.
Yeah, we really could.
The I'm from the Internet Players present.
Yeah, Robodale. Yeah, dude, those are so good. If you don't know what we're talking about, none of that did anything for you at all, but whatever. Here we are. It's my podcast. I got to do what I want.
If you're listening to an internet history podcast and you don't know anything about YouTube poops, you have a very fun afternoon ahead of you.
Yeah. Aliantos is my suggestion for bizarre Hank of the Hill YouTube poops. Yeah, did you ever have a Game Shark as a kid?
I never had one. I always thought they were so cool. Like one of the reasons I loved emulators was the fact that they had the Game Shark and the Pro Action Replay built into it. So that's the first, like being able to just kind of blow open games, like stuff like the Moon Jump code in Ocarina of Time. I wanted that so bad because I was convinced like if I had that, I could totally get the Triforce for real. Yeah,
they're like prior to me having like a reliable internet connection in my house. I played Silent Hill 1 a ton. And I just could not, like, I didn't have a strategy guide for it. And, like, they eventually got a strategy guide that sucked. And, like, it got a bunch of information wrong. And so, like, I ended up getting a Game Shark for my PlayStation 1. And, there were so many codes for it that, like, yeah, it would give you infinite ammo, but it, like, it doesn't really matter because it's, like, that's not what the game's main struggle is. It's like a puzzle kind of situation. But one of the things that they did was they had like, it was just called the roller skates mod, which made it so that once Harry's walk animation did its first cycle, it would just stay like that. And then he would just like skate around the whole room. And so like, it was just a bizarre, like, they must have just been fucking with the code and they discovered that. And they're like, well, let's just add this in anyway.
Yeah, he had Heelys.
Yeah, he had very much just like Harry Mason, but with Heelys. That would be a mod I would play. It's like when you're doing a third-person game, you look down and they're wearing those big-ass Osiris shoes.
Yeah. Like, where's my Spider-Man 2 for wearing Heelys? We have, like, the super satisfying, like, skate action to just slide around.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I'd be all for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess to get to the main course now, yeah. So we've been talking about FakeFactory cinematic mod. FakeFactory is a middle-aged German man who made a mod that was supposed to turn the video game Half-Life 2 more into an action movie, but it's more like it turns it into pornography. And we're sort of digging into the many changes he made.
Yeah, it's all very glossy and shiny and scrubbed up. It's like the bizarre ads that you see in like Middle Eastern outlet stores where everything is like really fucking glossy and everything is really sharp and crunchy and hyper focused. It's a lot. Everything, the male characters are super masculine. The female characters are very fucking feminine. You can tell that this guy he just spends a lot of time jacking off, you know?
Very much. And I think like sort of a fun part of that too is like even the stuff that he's not into, like the male characters, they seem to be based on models too. Like almost all the characters in this are based off of like actual human models, it seems like. Like his version of Barney, the friendly security guy, he looks kind of like the default Commander Shepard. And that's because Default Commander Shepard is based on an actual model named Mark Vanderloo. And it looks like he just used Mark Vanderloo as the reference for this character as well. So it's like the same actor playing two different roles. Yeah, wow. And also, like, again, Mark Vanderloo, dude, that guy is just like a Rubik's Cube for a head. Like, that guy is just intensely model-esque. Yeah. The fact that he actually has the Commander Shepard scar on his head and his hairline, and that wasn't an effect, is like, that's pretty cool. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess the thing that you need to know about this is that, like, you have this, like, hyper intense cologne ad of a human being with this guy with, like, these dark, mysterious eyes, broad jaw,
big lips, like very fine defined physique, strong. Like it is a staggeringly masculine model for a very spicy cologne, and it is being used for kind of the jokey comedy sidekick character Barney, who is named Barney because it's funny to name a character Barney. And he's kind of just he's not an oaf, he's not a buffoon, but he's he's not he does not have gravitas. He's like, hey there, Commander Shepard.
Yeah, he's a Barney Fife, like, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, hey there, Gordon, it's good to see you again, buddy. Here's a crowbar.
I owe ya.
What about that beer I owe ya? You know, he's just like, he's from Milwaukee. You know, how he ended up in City 17 is anybody's guess, but he's not a fucking badass guy who talks like he's he's Commander Shepard. Like, that's not him. He's a goofball, you know?
Really, yeah. And I think part of what made Commander Shepard work is that even though he looks like this, he's voiced by Mark Beer. He kind of sounds like a dorky Canadian guy, and that's a very fun contrast. For that
yeah.
Also, if you ever want to see Commander Shepard's pubes, there they are.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, I've been looking for those.
It's a very funny contrast because one of the very conspicuous choices that Valve made with Half-Life 2 was they modeled their characters after people with, quote, striking looks rather than movie star beauty. Like, there's a book about the development raising the bar, and they actually show some of the human models that they used as reference points. And it is neat. It's like, yeah, I haven't played Half-Life 2 in 15 years, but I recognize all these characters. They are very striking and distinct looking, especially for the era in which they were made.
Yeah, they all look like real, genuine human beings. Famously, some of them were like homeless people that they just took. I don't know if they took photos of them, but
I actually have a quote about that here.
Yeah, there you go.
It says a Half-Life 2 model reference. It says, when casting character faces, Valve artists searched for people with striking looks. Dr. Kleiner turned out to be an accountant that worked in the firm above Valve's office. Eli was holding a sign and looking for work on the street. Father Grigori was the father of one of the modelers. Cubbage was a team member's martial arts teacher. Barney's face is that of Valve's COO. The team did have some trouble finding a diversity of female faces, however, and ended up posting an ad in the classifieds of the Seattle Times. Your face in a game. So yeah, like I always wonder if that guy ever found out that his face is like one of the most well-known black characters in video gaming. You know, that it came from like a homeless man on this, or presumably unhoused man looking for work on the side of the road.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope that some of the money got back to him, but you know, it's this is a thing where I'm trying to take the photos. I posted about it the other day, trying to take photos for United States Department of Gang Stalking. And I want to be as sure as I can that it's not just random people that I know, right? That it's because then it would just be a bunch of 20 and 30 somethings with facial piercings and shit like that, right? I want to have like a pretty diverse cast. And so that might mean just going down to Wicker Park and just being like, hey, $50, I'll take a picture and put it in this game and see how people feel about it. But yeah, like you kind of have to go really far out of your way to make the casting diverse and representative of a large group of people. You know?
And that's part of what made it age well too, is because since this isn't trying to pursue like that type of, you know, what is considered hot is something that is very temperamental and changes over time. Whereas like people just looking interesting is kind of like you watch an old movie, everyone that still looks pretty interesting, and if it's not like what we consider attractive now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say also, like, the cinematic mod isn't alone in sort of missing this point. Like, a very fun thing I found was researching this, like, Game Informer did a cover about, like, the best game characters of the 2000s or whatever, and their version of Alex looks like it was drawn from the cinematic mod rather than the actual official Valve artwork, because like, she has cleavage in it. Yeah,
and also, it doesn't look like, I mean, look, man, no hate to the artist here, but, like, what's the fuck is going on here? Because, like, you can tell that they're really good at drawing armor, but then they get to the face and they're like, fuck. Let's give Commander Shepard enough shadow under his nose that he looks like the Fuhrer. And
he looks like he has the cotton balls in his cheek, like he's auditioning to play a Vito Corleone or something.
Yeah, and then Alex Vance just looks like Jillian Michaels. Like, it just looks like she's like a very deeply bronzed anti-vax kickboxing instructor or whatever. And then fucking Rasputin from Psychonauts just looks like an old, like one of those when you carve a face into an apple and you leave it out for a while. It just...
Yeah, and they didn't even try with the anime characters. They just put like an outline of Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright on paintings in the back. He's like, I'm not even going to touch that.
Yeah, they didn't really like. That's the easiest thing in the world to draw. Yeah, it just doesn't look anything like Alex at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
And so I didn't play through this, but I did watch, like, skip through a playthrough and watch some people go through it. So I do have some fun examples. We can kind of go through and break down some of the changes it made and like why they're funny or interesting. But before we do, one thing that really drove me crazy is all this work, and he didn't even fix Dr. Breen's private reserve. Like, do you know what I'm talking about with that?
Yeah. So I guess I didn't realize that was something that needed to be fixed. I thought it was just kind of like a stylistic choice.
There's a vending machine called Dr. Breed's Private Reserve in all caps. And instead of Dr. period, it's Dr. Lesser than, because if you hold shift and hit period, it does that symbol. So it looks like they, instead of doing caps lock, they held down shift and just for some reason never fixed that, even though it's like a big prop that you interact with. Also, it's done in impact font in the original game. It feels very low rent for like a very high profile prop that you interact with at one point.
But if you think about it diegetically, like it's a secret vending machine that leads to a secret laboratory. And so for it to look kind of like clumsy and shitty, because this wasn't made by an advertising department, this was made by, maybe that's the joke. Maybe we are missing the joke here, is that Dr. Breen made this sign for the vending machine, and he's the one who held down shift to make it all caps. You know,
so the joke is just that Dr. Breen sucks at his job.
Yeah, well, Dr. Breen just isn't like he's a particle physicist. He's not good at Photoshop. So I don't know. That's my interpretation of it.
Do you think that Dr. Breen actually designed the vending machine?
Well, I think that who else would it be? Because it's Dr. Breen, it's Vance, it's the white lady who's a traitor, and then I guess Barney shows up from time to time. Like, there's nobody else at the lab.
Dr. Breen is the villain, though. That's the thing. It's called Dr. Breen's Private Reserve because it's the water that the aliens give people. There's even a part where a guy's like, don't drink the water. It makes you forget. Like, it's like there are multiple machines all over the map, too. It's not just that one.
Oh, I got it all wrong. Okay. I thought Dr. Kleiner is your guy.
Yeah. Dr. Kleiner is our friend. He's going to show up in a bit. His version is very funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess then it might just be a mistake. I don't know. But yeah. Anyways, that was my first thought. But
yeah. Dr. Less Than Breens. And another funny deal is he changed the cans into Coca-Cola cans because I guess it's a Blockbuster and it needs product placement. So
yeah, that's just bizarre. Like, you don't need to do all that.
Yeah. And also, like, City 17, like we sort of mentioned earlier, but yeah, the whole point is it's like this dystopian city where everybody is like wearing jumpsuits and like being harvested for organs and stuff. And like all the women in this mod have like full makeup. And like it's so funny.
Again, it's just this thing that like you can tell when a guy has never like woken up next to a woman who has taken her makeup off, which is like you just see the human being. You don't see last night's makeup. And it's really funny to see like when guys kind of tell on themselves by making these all of the characters in this like brutal dystopian apocalyptic setting all look like runway models with full face makeup and like perfect figures. And it's like not how that works at all, you know?
Yeah, you got to get up early so you can get the crinkle and everything in your eyeshadow before you stand outside of a chain link fence for 8 hours.
Yeah, exactly. While you watch your child be harvested for their organs, you know, like it's a little bit much.
Yeah, and one of this guy's like level design things that is like he just loves to put rubble everywhere. He looks at these maps, he's like, they don't look cluttered enough. Let's just throw blocks and boulders and everywhere, bricks, rubble, like just to the point where it gets hard to navigate levels because the level geometry it's like walking over a carpet made of Legos. There's just all these bumps. You have no place but to run into stuff and bounce around. And
yeah, I remember that. I remember like, I mean, one of the most brilliant things about Half-Life 2 is the fact that like without being like hand-holdy, it really shows you how to play the game. It really naturally guides you through the entire level, which means that like you can pretty clearly see the path that you're supposed to go. And it's like the eye is drawn to the right places that you're supposed to go throughout the game. It is a linear game. There's a lot of ways to do it, but like you're able to traverse things very sensibly. But he just fills it with so much shit that like, oh, buddy, it's like imagine a recipe for how to make waffles from scratch, but instead of like 5 steps, he somehow makes it like 150 steps. It's like you can still follow it and make those waffles, but there's so much other information that is just going to confuse you that you're going to give up before you even get the batter ready.
Definitely. Like if you listen to the commentaries for Half-Life 2, they spend so much time talking about how much they playtest these and how much work they put into like subtly signpost stuff and shift things around so people will go the right, like to the point where like hardcore gamers were kind of assholes about how Valve was dumbing their games down for casuals at the time. Like this is one of the things about Half-Life 2 is like one of the reasons why it was so successful and beloved is because it isn't like a shooter for hardcore shooter people. It's a shooter that everyone can kind of enjoy and play. Like it's not super hard. Like the weapons themselves aren't, aside from the gravity gun, aren't like the best ever, but just as a package, it's very perfectly designed and well made. And just like, there's a reason why people are still playing it over 20 years later.
Yeah. I mean, it rocks. I picked it up not too long ago to just show somebody else. And it was just fucking rocks, man. It's a really, really good game. Go play it now.
When I played it, the first time I played on the Xbox. I didn't have a PC that could run it at the time. And even with all those super long load times, I was just like getting out of my car and exploring every little house on the way there. Like it took me forever to go through because it was like, I'm not a shooter person, but just as someone who likes to explore spaces and interact with stuff, it gave you so much cool stuff. It was a great time.
And because it's been played so fucking much and like it has been picked apart in every goddamn way. Well, one, like, okay, if you somehow don't know, Gary's mod is a guy named Gary took the Half-Life 2 engine and just made this like open sandbox where you can just pop all of the different models into the game. It's like the developer tools to make levels where you can give yourself any weapon or any whatever, spawn any character, any enemy, and make structures and magnetize things and make things move. It's like this really, really, really open sandbox. It's not a game per se, but you can make games with it. And because of that, I mean, all of gaming history is different because of like all of the things that got poured into making Gary's mod. And so because the game was so successful and because there's things like Gary's mod and the source code has been like meticulously taken apart, I've seen videos recently where they go into the source code of Half-Life 2 and they find the part where pi is defined in the code for whatever reason. I don't really understand why. And they just like, well, what happens in the game if we make it so that pi is defined as 3.12? And it like breaks the game in really fascinating ways that you have to understand math and coding to really fully understand. But you get to do really interesting things with the code once it's something that everybody knows, kind of in the same way that like really bizarre parodies of Garfield and Romeo and Juliet are more effective because it's something that everybody knows, you know?
Very much. Yeah, that flat grass is just kind of like the background of a lot of people's like childhood growing up, that place, or like being a teenager and playing those spaces. And also the whole reason why Gary's mod exists is because Valve is cool with modders. Like that's kind of the flip side of stuff like the cinematic mod existing is you do get genuinely good and transformative works. And they let him sell Gary's mod. Like, you know, if Valve weren't cool about this, video game history would be completely different.
Yeah. And I mean the hours that I spent playing that were prodigious. So, yeah.
And I guess that's sort of another comparison with the clutter, like this starting area, and then afterwards it's just covered in the bloom.
Oh my God.
The side-by-side bloom. It's like it's taking place while a nuke is going off in the distance.
Yeah, the bloom, the glowing. This looks more
like Fallout than Half-Life 2.
Yeah, way too over bloomy. The sun is this huge flare in the sky. Added all this like unnecessary like fucking rubble and detail and scaffolding and shit. Like it certainly looks more populated, right? Like you could say that the original version is a little bland because there's like a bunch, it's just like there's some dirt and grime on the ground and there's some like clearly things are in a state of disarray. And yes, there are more things going on in the modded version, but it's just like the only word that I can think of for this is that it's been gussied up. You know, it's been overdone. you know?
Yeah, and also like within the setting, like part of what makes City 17 scary and like the setting into the idea is that it's not like everything's crumbling rubble. It's like, yeah, society is still functioning. It's just everything has been functionally like turned against us, and we are slowly being driven to extinction. Like the streets are clean because they still have to drive their tanks everywhere and stuff. People still live in houses. It's just everything sucks and is getting worse, as opposed to this where it's like when people complain about how in Fallout 3 it's been 200 years and there's still like rubble everywhere, except it's been like, you know, a couple years.
Yeah, the like, what is it? The Half-Life 2 is like the 12-hour war or something like that, where the Combines show up and like completely take over the human race in 12 hours. Yeah, I don't know. That's another stroke of genius, is calling the main antagonist the Combine, which works like both for how they integrate with the human genome, but also like a Combine as like a harvester is just. I don't know. That's just a fun thing.
I always thought it was a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest reference as well, because the Combine is like what the main character calls like his conception of like the outside world's forces, like controlling and like everyone.
Yeah, maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, because I know Half-Life was inspired by The Mist by Stephen King, so I just kind of associate book references as being part of the DNA of it.
I could see that. Yeah, the long leggy striders and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Here's another one. Just like
Jesus Christ, dude. There's like the bloom from the sun is so overwhelming. The huge, chunky, ugly car added in. Yeah, because it was just like, you know, it's a picture of a Half-Life 2 level that's kind of sparse, but you can really see where things are, and there's like interesting details added in. And then like he added this in, like it looks like the flashback of a dead wife, you know. It's like over bloomy, really blown out. There's just like shit everywhere. It's so soft. Because like the textures and the models that he added, that wasn't enough. It was like he needed to make everything he added all these post-processing effects that just make it's just so fucking much, man. It's, again, I've used this word before. It's very priapistic. Everything is permanently erect all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, he added a bunch of trees. Like one of the things is the, you know, the planet's kind of like dying out, like the oceans are being drained. Like they very conspicuously designed City 17. It's like there's not a lot of greenery or plant life in it. And he just goes through, he's like, let's put some trees in here. That'll look nicer. And it just, you can tell it stands out. There aren't normally trees there. And he gets even worse with adding the greenery as he goes on. Like this one bush, he just like peppers maps with this bush model.
Yeah, there's just a lot of shit going on that wasn't really necessary. And it also, like, yeah, it does make it seem like this city has been abandoned for a very long time when it really hasn't by the story. Like, it's a pretty it was like the game takes place in like kind of Czechia, kind of like a Prague area, because
like a vague Eastern European country.
Yeah. And that's like, I remember seeing some of the stuff that he has taken photos of in real life and being like, wait a minute, why does this seem familiar? Why does it feel like I'm being followed around by a camera drone? It was all very evocative. And then like he just added stuff that like it removes you from the game, because like you're playing this thinking like, okay, so it's been 2 years since the 12-hour war or whatever it was. And how did all of this happen? Like, you don't get this level of vegetation. You know, it's like there were so many thoughtful things that he kind of like bulldozed over here.
Yeah. And also a very funny thing is episode 2 takes place in a forest outside of City 17. So it already has trees, but he still went in there and added a bunch more, to the point where it is like genuinely hard to navigate the levels. Like normally it's like this nice and open. Now you can't see fucking shit.
So in his defense, it does, in doing that, it does change the nature of the game. Like it changes navigating this level with tons and tons of trees, and like, yes, the bloom is obnoxious and all that. It does make it a different, more action-oriented tactical experience, right? And the second one does look a lot more modern. It looks like a whole forest full of trees. Forest, yeah. But like, I don't know, like that is the kind of thing where like, I saw somebody recently, and absolutely no hate to this person, I think it's a very interesting prospect, is that they are doing something to make Silent Hill 1 co-op with Harry and Lisa Garland. And it's just like baffling, because it's like Silent Hill 1 is not a game where you need more than one gun. You barely need a gun at all in that game. And so it's just a really interesting pursuit, and it completely changes the nature of the entire game. Because Half-Life 1 is an action game, but there's also a lot of other, like, you know, part of the big selling point was that it was a lot of very interesting puzzles that deal with the gravity and the physics engine that they put into the game, where you need a platform to float up so that you can get on top of something, but it's sunken at the bottom of this lake. So you go down there and you can put empty barrels of air underneath the platform that floats it up, that allows you to like open up a gate and stuff like that. And this is kind of pushing the game more towards a modern shooter experience. I don't know. This is one where it's like, I could see the point, but it's not really necessary.
Yeah, it makes me think, it almost reminds me like before and after pictures when I play a game like Satisfactory, where the first one where it's super overgrown and full of trees, it looks very pretty and it looks like nature, but if you want an actual space that you play in and occupy and do game stuff in, you got to kind of clear it out and have more space. Like this is how it would look when you start, and then the above is like how it would look after I've chopped them all down and started building factories. Like as an actual play, that's just kind of what makes me think of there.
Yeah.
A more egregious example is the sand trap level. Like there's famously a level called sand trap where you're in like a very sandy area and you have to jump across objects on the sand and not trigger antlions. His version of sand trap doesn't even have that much sand in it. He put a lot of grass and everything on it and trees, so it's not even sandy anymore.
Yeah. How does that make sense at all? Like, because you're fighting antlions, and like the whole thing is that if you're on the sand textured part of the map, it triggers the antlions to come out, and they're like, you know, swarms of attack bugs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was the 2000s. This was the era of like the Bourne Identity movies. We love shaky cam. Maybe that was part of his thought process. Seeing things is not cinematic.
Yeah, I guess so. And God, the bloom, Jesus Christ. Like, it is someone who has perceived the world primarily through cameras and through photography rather than living in it. I mean, I don't fucking know Jürgen van Heilig or whatever whatever his name is. I don't know his life, but it is like the lens of the camera here is caked in Vaseline, so everything is soft and blurry and glowy, because for a long time post-processing was the thing that you do. It's like, it is the nitrous oxide that you boost into your 98 Geo to make it go 70 miles an hour, where you have like these old clunky games and you do all of these other effects that take their kind of shitty graphics and make them kind of less shitty, maybe a little bit good. And then once we finally broke past that barrier and we started making the next generation of graphics, we look back at that other stuff and we're like, Jesus Christ, that looked fucking terrible. It looked so bad. A lot of this, like the graphical mods for like Dark Souls were really like just really gussied up and juicy looking bloom effects. They're all just shaders. It doesn't actually make the game look better.
You know? Oh gosh, yeah. Like I remember, like during the PS3 generation, the joke is that PS3 games are brown. Like because yes. Like, yeah, they're all brown and bloom. Everything was very monochromatic and oversaturated like that.
Yeah.
Or desaturated, yeah. Here's another one. Like, this is a sort of interesting the way it plays with spaces. Like in the original one, in the root canal, not root canal, the one where you're on the airboat. Like, there's the city. You can see the way it's set up. You can see some little buildings in the distance. For the most part, the horizon's sort of dominated by the citadel. Whereas in the new one, it's nowhere to be seen. Instead, they move the buildings nice and close, so it looks like a more neat map, like sort of like more busy. But
it looks like you're in Ukraine. There's a lot more shit going on. It looks like if this were a different game, fine, you know?
It looks like a stalker map now, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a stalker map. For sure it looks like a stalker map. It looks like you'd be like near Jupiter, the factory, which I've been to. But yeah, it removes a lot of like the reason, like when you're outside, you can see the Citadel, which is this skyscraper that pierces the fucking heavens, that is kind of present throughout all of the outside levels, that you can see it in varying degrees of destruction.
And it's an important part of establishing the sense of place too, because you always kind of know where you are in relation to the Citadel, and it's sort of a big part of anchoring your journey.
Right, exactly. So by removing that, you're just kind of making it, you know, he's making it a very polished up but very generic shooter. You know,
Yeah,
it's unnecessary.
and another one, we were talking about the signposting messing it up. Like another thing, he added a bunch of graffiti. So like you're navigating the sewers, and there's a dick butt graffiti, and below it says "Die, motherfucker." Like just again, City 17, and we're all dying and are having our emotions suppressed. Let me draw my favorite. Poor Casey Green is still getting plagiarized, even in the post-apocalypse.
Yep, it is just this memes, man. Again,
it's not like hidden out of the way. It's behind a doorway. You have to progress through this to go through the level.
Yeah, again, it just takes me to like the thing about whatever what stupid fucking neologism was just recently added to the lexicon, and someone just said like, do not let the Borderlands writers know about this, because then we're for sure gonna have Borderlands 6, and it's like kill the pog, the fat ass white girl. And it's like, what the fuck? Like every new thing, every goddamn meme is just put into the grinder, and it's like coworker behavior of just like, did you see the thing that South Park did? And it's like, I haven't thought about South Park since 1954. Like, leave me alone, you know?
Okay, so here's another fun example. It's like, so we talked a little about Alex, but another one is like, so here's Dr. Kleider. He's like an old bald scientist, or like a fun character. And the thing is, like, a lot of times he didn't make these models, so he just kind of tries to, they don't really look like the character. They're more like just sort of matched up as best he could. So the bald guy model he has is a bald guy with thick glasses wearing a green suit. He looks like he's turtly enough for the Turtle Club. He does not.
Dude, he looks like he's turtly enough for the fucking Turtle Club. I mean, God, listener, I wish if you look in the show notes, you give them the document to look through these pictures, right?
Yeah, it's always linked in there. There's
always linked in the in the show notes. You got to look at the juxtaposition of these two things, because the first one is like this. It's from a kind of an important scene where Alex Vance is talking with Dr. Kleiner, and you're there. It's one of this revolutionary things that Half-Life 2 did, which is there's cutscenes, but you are still active in them, so you can walk around and look at stuff like you're just like this very distractible child. But Alex Vance is like this really thoughtful character, very thoughtfully designed. Her model makes sense. Dr. Kleiner, like everything is the same tone. And it's like the tableau is very put together, right? And then the new version is Alex Vance 1 is in the foreground with like long fucking hair extensions, like really exaggerated like Instagram girl eyes and makeup and plump lips.
Yeah,
and
I
like
think this model is based on this is based on a Brazilian model, this version of Alex. Yeah.
Very, very, very 20-year-old sexy Brazilian woman looking you in the eyes with these piercing like blue-gray eyes. The perfect button nose, like everything about her is keyed up to be the supplest, softest, most femme person you've ever seen. And then the old man doctor in the background is just any 35-year-old bald man wearing a big, thick suit. So like it's not hanging on his body. It's like this really bulky, like it looks like he's wearing like a community theater suit. It's really fucking goofy, dude. Everything is keyed up and shiny and shit. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's like, imagine replacing like Viggo Mortensen from Lord of the Rings with Timothée Chalamet. You know, where it's like you have this like really perfectly cast character, and you just add, well, it's like, yeah, but whatever, we need to have the more modern thing, and that's Timothée Chalamet, therefore he's going to be this character. It's just baffling, dude.
Yeah. Also, he's wearing a tie. Like, it's the end of the world. At the very least, loosen that thing. Like,
yeah, at very least, like let it go a little bit, man. Put on a bolo, man.
Actually, he's an equal opportunity offender. The women wear makeup, but the men wear ties, so we can't get mad at him.
Yeah, I mean, that guy, I get it. You know, a tie is sexy on a man, gives you something to tug.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So Dr. Breen is a fun one. So here's the vanilla Dr. Breen, classic.
Yep. Got white hair, white beard, a little bit of color left around the lips, kind of blue eyes, dark eyebrows. Looks a little bit like the what is the Henry, the Herald, the Misfortune.
He does look kind of like Meme Harold's more put together older brother.
Yes. He's like an old white man who could be a professor at a college. He's put together, he's aged somewhat well, but he's very much an old white man with white hair. Yes. Now break my heart.
Yeah. So if you ever want a mental image of what my dad looks like, imagine if Dr. Breen and Jim Belushi did the fusion dance, and that's my dad.
I won't. Anyways.
Yeah. So speaking of, so now here is what he looks like in the cinematic mod.
Wow. What the fuck? Jesus Christ, dude.
It's so fucking funny.
Okay. This is like emo Hitler. Okay, so one thing is that he doesn't really change like the three-dimensionality of the model that much, but he changes the style of hair that it has. And so around this perfectly, because like the older one, Breen has like short hair, so it makes sense for his head to be round, right? And this one, he has very much like a white-haired Hitler haircut with like a receding hairline. But because the hairline is just like, the hair is just modeled so close to the scalp, it just looks like it's like painted on. All of that,
a really bad comb over almost.
yeah, and all of that is like wrapped around these big, dark, glossy eyes with dark eyeshadow and like a shitty beard. He just looks like, imagine Hitler, white-haired, homeless, in the sun, 20 years of aging, looking like shit, and then give that Hitler big, glossy anime eyes. Yeah. And so you go from like this really thought out and put together character to just like an abomination. Fuck you. Yeah. Listeners, look through the document. Page 39. This is
what you want to look through. This has a strong visual element to it.
It's fucking bizarre.
If you want to help visualize it, imagine what J.D. Vance is going to look like in 2050. Like, maybe it's the eyeliner that's doing it, but this is like Mecha Hitler J.D. Vance.
Yeah, gussied up J.D. Vance. This is just too much. Take it away.
Yeah, it is very funny that even the men wear too much makeup in this.
Yes.
Again, equal opportunity. So a very German addition to this is the part where in the crane, he added a clipboard with safety instructions and hand signals. So, you know, those positive German stereotypes that care about safety.
Yeah, I'll give him that. It adds a certain level of something to the game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I love this. Like, you're getting this sort of like backrooms-esque collage of a person's subconscious. It's like sexy lady. Be very careful with heavy equipment. Sexy lady. Like, it's such an interesting psyche. The Psychonauts level in this guy's head would be something.
And the pattern, the texture repetition here is really funny because like it's the thing where they want to pack as much detail into the textures as they can, and so they just pick the most intensely detailed versions of it, but in doing so, you see the fact that like that texture is repeated over and over and over again. And so it just looks like everything is wallpapered with different repeating patterns of like scratchy metal surface over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's really obnoxious.
Really is. Also, we had an appearance from a past episode in it. There's a fucking Chuck Norris poster. Hell yeah. Epic.
Yeah, punching the camera.
It's 2005, baby.
Yeah. Makes sense for a Chuck Norris poster and a Texas flag to appear in a collapsing Central European dystopia.
Yeah, like make no mistake, like I can't remember the name, but like there's a pretty like well-regarded Half-Life 2 mod that ends with like an A-Team homage where you see a poster of the A-Team and you put together a van. And there that worked because it was like a funny gameplay-based one. But this one, you're trying to be cinematic and serious. Like, I don't know, I don't remember Michael Bay ever putting like, well, I guess Chuck Norris did meme to make an appearance in The Expendables. So I guess, yeah, he's right.
Yeah. Oh, man. Adding photos of real life people into your game is always such a jump scare because you can see what real people look like and it just removes you from the rest of the textures in the game. Yeah,
like there are people who use that for creative purposes, like that like Taiwan developed game that was banned. I can't remember the name, but apparently it used FMV very well for that. But like, yeah, and here it just takes you right out of it.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
So this next part, I didn't shout it out earlier, but in our Patreon a year or two ago, we did an episode on Arthbor and the unofficial Skyrim patch a couple months before down the rabbit hole, by the way. It felt pretty cool to scoop that. But in it, we talked a little bit about Tessera, who's a somewhat infamous modder who did a Vampire the Masquerade mod that literally wallpapers levels in pornography. And I wanted to bring that up because FakeFactory loves to do the same thing, just covers walls and like pinups of like sexy bikini ladies, very like Hideo, like what I imagine Hideo Kojima jerks off to, like a lot of women in like military, like a topless woman in a bandolier and such.
Yeah, and again, it's like it's very German because it's just like it's so 90s. It is pumped up chicks with tans and big tits, and it's like, I don't know, there's just so much more. It's just like bodies, you know, beautiful faces for sure, but like it's just so geared up and horny, and I'm not a big porn guy at all, because a lot of it is like this, where it is just like, it's like eating spoonfuls of just spices. It's like it's ingredients, you know? And so there's this startling lack of sensuality to it that like, it's just, this is a guy who likes coming, but not necessarily foreplay and talking and making out and eventually fucking, you know, he just likes the fuck. He likes the cum, you know.
My game dev is much faster now that I don't have to alt tab out of it. I can just jerk off to my texture folder right in it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and also like canonically, there's like a suppression field over City 17 that makes people not be able to reproduce or be horny. So I like to imagine I'll just say, they're looking at this like, man, this used to do something for me. Like, they're nostalgic for the days of horniness.
Yeah, the entire city is in, I mean, like post-nut clarity. But it does kind of, if you want to integrate it into the storyline, maybe this is something that the Combine did intentionally, because they're like, dude, City 17 is way too fucking horny. Look at all the porn they have everywhere. Like, look, do your thing, but we need to put some sort of suppression field on it because this is fucking insane. So I don't blame them for that.
Yeah. Okay. So this next one, so like the way that the game starts out, you're in, you know, you arrive at City 17 on the subway. You're in this ominous, like sort of empty, abandoned subway area. You're walking around, and what if you're walking around and you look at it and there just happened to be some hentai graffiti on the wall? Like, I don't think the Combine would be drawing those, but maybe that's a part of their plan too. Yeah.
I remember. Okay. Yeah, this is it. I knew that there was like the hentai everywhere, but I guess I didn't know that it was this mod in particular. I guess I just never put together that this guy was a 45-year-old German man, because I just thought he was like not this.
Yeah, this feels like it jumped out of a teenage boy's id.
Yeah, very much. Like it just replaces a lot of the very like rich textural graffiti maps that they have on the walls in the game with just like line drawings of naked elf girls.
One of these, it looks like it's like a fairy woman who like just finished sucking off a cattail, like the plants. Like there's a little thing of drool. Like even by pornography standards, this is very muddled.
Yeah, this is a lot. And another one kind of looks like Alex Vance, which makes it seem that she was a lot more popular in the city than I really think she was. Yeah.
It does. Gosh, yeah. And so, like, even people who like cinematic mod, because this does have fans, like, even people who like it, like, they consider this a bit much, and there's a separate mod to remove the graffiti. There's also ones, like where it says, like, whore, fuck off on the wall, or there's one where it's, like, a clown pissing fire. And, like, again, none of this is considered for the mood and tone of the game. It's just like, oh, that's fucking badass. I'm going to put it in the game.
Yeah, it's literally just, like, just throwing everything at it, man. My God.
Yeah.
There's no tonal consistency at all. Jesus.
Gosh, yeah. And arguably the most egregious addition that he did, like in terms of horniness, is he added a part where you get to explore Alex Vance's bedroom, and he put multiple dildos in it. So like, and also her room is just like a mattress on the floor. This feels very dingy and seedy in an uncomfortable way.
Yeah, man. This guy's got to go. Like, I no longer, for a minute there, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. This man, oh boy.
Yeah. And I feel need to emphasize the dildo. Like, this isn't like a colorful, exaggerated cartoon dildo like in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. This is like a realistic, veiny black dildo, which is extra problematic because, especially considering how porn-pilled this is, like that has like very unfortunate connotations as opposed to like a brightly colored one where the joke is just, haha, a dildo. Isn't that outrageous?
Yeah. Boy, howdy. This is a guy who like, you know, like, have you seen the thing about like the the book talk girlies that read 100 books a month, but you find out that one of the things that they do is they don't read anything but the dialogue. They just skip by everything that's not dialogue, and that's how they're able to just like flip through books like crazy. I feel like this guy he just skipped all the dialogue of Half-Life and didn't understand literally anything of it, you know?
Yeah, it's like when people are like, oh, I skipped all the Mike scenes in Better Call Saul. I didn't really understand the ending.
Yeah,
Why did you watch
Christ.
the show if you didn't like half of it? Like, come on.
God.
And like also like the graphical ones are the most fun to talk about because they're very obvious, but it's worth mentioning like on the audio side of it, you know, he replaced all these iconic sound effects with stock sound effects because they're louder and thus more realistic, but they just sound like every other game. And also he replaced the game soundtrack with music from the Batman Begins trailer because he wanted like dramatic orchestral swells because that's cinematic. But instead you're just driving around, it's like instead of like the cool techno music that is normally playing.
Do not touch the Half-Life 2 soundtrack. It's perfect. Don't fuck with it. Like it's just, again, it's pre-epistic. It's a guy who just added louder versions of the game. It's like that would be a joke I would tell if we hadn't already mentioned it. He just made everything louder and dumber.
Yeah, like as much you know, as infamous as this mod is, the creator itself, FakeFactory, he seems to have completely vanished around the time he stopped updating the cinematic mod. Like, I think it could because this did get a lot of negative attention, but also like he would have been 59. He's 59 years old now, so I'm thinking maybe his sex drive finally just started to give out. Like, you know,
Jesus
maybe
Christ.
Yeah,
someone's
like,
grandpa.
Yeah.
You know, why do I know what does your name sound familiar? Well, my grandpa's the guy who wanted to fuck Alex Vance.
Which one? That doesn't narrow it down a lot.
Yeah, one of the 60 Alex Vance models. Yeah.
Yeah. Like all of his websites are gone now. I had to use the Internet Archive to dig up his bio and some other stuff. But I guess like he does have a legacy. Like I mentioned, fully modeled is an in-joke among Half-Life fans and modders in general to this day. Like I was digging, I found just people talking like fully modeled and of like the Half-Life 2 meme, or it's that classic Norman Rockwell painting of the shell sock soldier, but it's Gordon Freeman. This is fake or deleted, but I love this one where there's currently a mod. They're doing an RTX version of Half-Life 2, and they go, every transistor in Half-Life 2 RTX Remix's computer prop is fully modeled, to which the Valgar responds with the screaming, brave Walter White. Just like, no. I love that meme so much.
No! Yeah.
Yeah, gosh.
That's so funny.
And since we've been making fun of this guy for 2 hours at this point,
Christ.
to defend him a little, I think it's worth highlighting, like, a lot of modders who make fun of the cinematic mod are themselves just as guilty of being horny weirdos at the time.
Oh, yeah. This guy is a bizarre, creepy weirdo, but, like, this is an endemic. This is something that all men are doing all the time, and it makes video games such a fucking slog to get through. Because, like, in terms of, like, talking about them online, it's because everybody... like the age demo for video games is 16 years old, and it doesn't matter if you're 50 or 12, everybody's trying to be a 16-year-old boy. And so there's constant flame wars about whether or not a character is sexy enough for the game.
God.
You know, it's just baffling.
Yeah, like my touchstone for this era is like Something Awful had a big mod pack for Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and I downloaded it. And one of the things was it added, not only added nudity, it added like a race of cat girls that made anime sex noises when they took damage. Like I was like horny stuff has just been like that is like even now, like when I played Kenshi, I had to go in and uninstall a bunch of nude mods that a package added. It's just like it's one of those things where it's kind of like if you exist in this space, it's kind of part of the background radiation in a way that is, you know, unfortunate.
Yeah, it's kind of like running into like fascists in your metal scene where it's just like, yeah, they're fucking everywhere. And you do have to do the work to weed them out. But like, Jesus Christ, it's endemic. You can't remove it. You know, you can't write a book about the top 100 metal bands and not include some freaks, you know, it's everywhere.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Same with the modding scene, gosh.
Yeah, that too.
I think that's kind of why the cinematic mod became such a punchline, is because you always, if you're a nerd, you always need to have a bigger nerd to point at and go, at least I'm not as bad as that guy. And this kind of fulfilled that function. And like one thing I found when I was researching is that kind of drove me nuts is that the guy who makes H-Doom, which is short for Hentai Doom, the Doom where you can fuck all the monsters and he made little sprite works of them sucking you off and such, he made a post making fun of the fully modeled thing. And it's like, dude, what, like, who, are you mad that it's not as pornographic as your game? Like, come on,
yeah,
what are we doing
here? I've seen bits and pieces of that. It's like the call is coming from inside the house, man. This is, you make the porn Doom game, which is arguably even more of a bizarre version of things, where instead of killing the monsters, you're fucking them. Which, man, get Andrea Dworkin on the phone, because we got to have a fucking conversation. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's very like the way that cinematic mod is like 2000 sexuality, H-Doom is like 2020 sexuality. Yes. It's like all ironic. It's like dark-skinned anime girls with abs sucking you off while being ironic and based on a thing you played when you were a kid. It sucks so goddamn much.
Yeah, it's so removed from its original thing that it's lacking all of its the artifice that made it a valid parody. Now it's just continuing the same joke, you know?
Man, I've said sucking you off a zillion times in this episode.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to isolate it, make it a ringtone.
The fact that H-Doom is a fixture of the boomer shooter scene is kind of shows that FakeFactory is one in a way. Like, yeah, this type of thing, like, we make fun of it, but it's around to stay. This wasn't an aberration.
Oh, yeah, it's never going to go away. I don't think anybody thought that it was ever going to go away.
A lot of people complain, their biggest complaint seems to be that it isn't anime. Like, if this had been, like, instead of the cinematic mod, it was the anime mod, they wouldn't complain at all.
Yeah, I have my fucking thoughts about anime. But, yeah, again, it's just another thing where everybody's, trying to capture the purchasing power of 16 to 20-year-old boys. And, boy, howdy, everybody wants to get that first paycheck, you know? And so, yeah, you just have like horny versions of everything forever all the time. I talked about in a more recent episode about somebody made some sort of mod or it's not a mod, they're making their own like stalker themed game that is really cool and has a lot of really interesting like sprite work for it. But then the vendors that you talk to in the game are like really exaggerated anime cat girls. And it's like all the people in the comments are like, this is great, just no cat girls. And the guy's like, no. I'm keeping the cat girls. If anything else, I'll remove everything else. You know, like they are the beams that hold it all together. You know.
Yeah, load bearing cat girls.
Load bearing cat. Believe me, Google load bearing cat girls. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's a lot.
But yeah, that's about where my notes end here. Just kind of like the game itself. It's just kind of like a scattershot of funny and interesting things. But man, what a relic, but also like what a reminder of both how far we've come and also how little we've changed.
Yeah, this is still going. This is not stopped. If anything, it's gotten worse and more racist and stupider. But that is the going trend of an information-based society. It's all going to be going in this direction forever. But that's all for us. Thank you all for listening. At the very end of the episode, we do have some recs if you want to listen through to that. We'll get to that at the end. But for now, you can find us at iftipod@gmail.com, iftipod at Twitter, and we'll be there. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm at Winslow Dumain on Twitter, winslowdumain.com, and calculations on Instagram. I also have a lot of playtesting going on for my new game, the United States Department of Gang Stalking. So please come on to the Discord and drop a comment, and you can hop on a game and watch us all play. Or join playing as well. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to all that there. But yeah, get some merch for the game and check out our Patreon for the pod. All of that money goes to Jay and Steve. And Jay, where can they find you?
I'm Jay Brandstetter on Blue Sky. My link tree is in the show notes.
All right, beautiful. Well, Jay, you have a suggestion or a rec. Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, since we've been talking about modding, I know I've mentioned in like last year I got really into the game Satisfactory, so I've shouted it out before, but I want to talk about their modding community and how uniquely good and easy it is, because the developers of Satisfactory, Coffee Stain Studio, they're a Swedish dev studio that started out as a bunch of college students modding Unreal Tournament. So they're really good about supporting mods in their own games. And Satisfactory has like the easiest and one of the most like in-depth modding things like I've like for this type of game I've ever seen. It's just it has its own bespoke launcher. You don't even have to use Nexus. You can have its own separate launcher that's built in with it. It has its own built-in thing to search for and install them. They have the community has graphic designers in it who will like for free make people little icons. So there's like a unified aesthetic throughout a lot of their mods. Like it maintains like that clean industrial like factory look. It's very cool. And the mods themselves are a good mix. Like there's silly ones. Like there's one where you can like add a bunch of super realistic human models to your buildings if you want to have like people hang out in your thing. But there's also silly ones like turn the game upside down while you're playing it. Just
okay.
Also, or like ones where you give the engineer superpowers. You can run across the map really quickly and stuff. Just lots of fun little things. The game benefits so much from that. I wouldn't have spent so much time in it if I couldn't change it this much.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a lot of good things. I'm more of a Factorio guy. I like the rigidity of Factorio, which is a very similar thing. But yeah, I'd highly recommend either Satisfactory or Factorio. The only
Yeah, it's weird. I've never gotten more than a couple hours into Factorio, but even though I like it, that's part of the reason it took me a while to get into factory games because I wasn't into Factorio that much. And now I've played like tons of Satisfactory and Dyson Sphere Project, but I can't get into it. So yeah, if you bounced off Factorio, other ones are different.
Yeah, give it a shot. And the only game that I've played in like the past 3 months outside of my own has been a demo for a game called Dust Front, which is very much like a Command and Conquer. It's like a grimdark Russian post-apocalyptic game. It looks really interesting. I picked it up. It's got a free demo out now, and I've been tinkering around with that. It definitely could use some updates for like it kind of. I want a tutorial. I want to play a campaign mission where it tells me piece by piece all of the different parts of it because it looks like it's focused on the battle and less on the economics and like everything looks very procedurally generated in terms of like the maps and everything. And I really miss the Command and Conquer thing, which was like they just plop you down in a city that has bridges and there's elevated parts and less elevated parts and like there's all these different vantage points throughout the game that make chokeholds and things like that or choke points and things. And Dustfront, obviously being procedurally generated, is just like a flat plane with a lot of different like stuff going on. So technically it's the same thing, just broader, but the bespoke, level by level, heartful kind of design work is something that I think would make it a lot better. But it's definitely worth a play, and I recommend it if you like Command and Conquer and StarCraft and stuff like that. Well, that's all for us. I'm gonna go get the sucked off by some sort of robot anime girl. Thanks for listening. Check out the Patreon, and we'll catch you next week. I'm From the Internet is created by jaybrandstetter and Winslow Domain. Edited by Steve Brown. Music by Steve Is Broke. What?